Listen, hey everybody, hey, how are y'all doing? Oh my gosh, it's been a long time since I've been in here. We're in studio today, live. I know it's incredible. Haven't been here in quite some time now. I don't even remember how to get on. Maybe I do. Maybe. DJ BJ, I thought my good old buddy DJ BJ would be in this mug, but it's okay. You know, everybody can't be everywhere all at the same time. But how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing pretty well. It's been a minute since we've been on live. But nevertheless, we're here.
Grab a donut before they're all gone.
Nevertheless, we're here. And right now it's 3 o'clock. It's 3 p.m. Hello. And thanks so much for tuning in to me this afternoon, everyone. You're on live with Afternoons with Delight. And like I said, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to me this afternoon. It has been quite a while since I've been on live with you all, but I really appreciate you all just for tuning in today. And before we get started, let me go over my legal ID like I do at the top of the hour. Each hour I come on WRFU-LP Urbana. This is our disclaimer. WRFU is an open forum for the Urbana-Champaign community. Views expressed are those of the speaker and guests, and they are not intended to represent WRFU. UCIMC. How is everybody doing today? It has been quite a while since I've been on, and I'm grateful just to be out here today. Today I had a few things I was going to go over and discuss with you all, but before we get started, the weather is making her appearance known. We're in floral garb today. Today has been that kind of a momentum where we're just seeing what's happening. One day we go from 30s, the next minute we'll go back into the 40s and 50s, so who knows at sometimes. I feel better than I've been feeling in quite some time. I've got a few things I want to discuss today, I guess, But like I said, I thank you guys for tuning in to me this afternoon. I know it's been quite a while since I've been on. And just to get you abreast of what's going on out here, especially with our foundation, which we had started. We had also ran a communal shelter, family shelter, for the last 6 months or so within Champaign County. And we had quite a big, eventful migration of people that chose to participate. Will be housed within our program. So, just for that, we're thankful. We're thankful that a lot of people also were able to find housing options for themselves as well during the time that they had spent with us. I don't know. Today is it's so much road construction and everything outside and all around town. It's crazy. How are y'all moving around the city? How? But we'll get back to that on another turn. But, as far as everybody else, I hope everybody's been doing pretty well. I don't see anybody on live with me so far. Let me invite a few people on and see where everybody is right now. Ooh, excuse me. Before we get started and go a little bit further into the show hour, listen. I have just gotten off the highway. It is so hot outside to me. But I just got off the highway and just came straight into the town. I see the city is taking up so much time right now. It's taking so much time to get from one point to the next around locally because of road construction and all these different things that are going on. I guess it usually does happen in the city. I guess it usually does happen in the summer in the city. I guess that's what we're doing right now. but we're not doing too much over here. There's a lot of different events I heard that are supposed to be going on over the weekend. And let me get myself a little situated here before I go any further. I think I need to set up on my little tripod and let y'all get a better. I see we've got a little sign up in the studio as well that's going on. But other than that, like I said, you know, I've been on a little hiatus from coming on my regular time. I've met quite a few people during the course of this 6-month period that I have been on like a hiatus. I mean, we've aired a few shows here and there, but as far as me being online and live, we've not been live in quite some time. And it's not that I did not want to go live. It is just the demands of getting out here and doing it every single day. This is a true commitment. You know, just like with anything else, I'm sure, and we all go through that, I'm sure of that, you know, you just try to carve out time and carve out the places and spaces where you can set yourself up to be used a little bit. And this has been the hiatus point of, or the point for me, where I've just been figuring out like my time, like what is my true area where I can see like things to be really called out for. You know, I go live in the studio. This is Thursday. And so we go live on the air from 3 to 4 p.m. And, you know, from 3 to 4 p.m., I think I've done over the last year, I know for sure I did about 30 shows. And all of my shows are, you know, retroactively, if you want to go back and look at them on YouTube or whatever, because I've got a YouTube page there as well. So if you have the time and you want to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, you can go there as well and subscribe. But for me, you know, starting this radio show was imperative to have like an average Joe, so to speak, having a platform where they could have discussion. And, you know, we talk about community issues. We talk about community involvement. We talk about a lot of different areas. And we have talked about a lot of different areas over the last year and a half that I've been running the show. And this is the first time that I've been back in quite some time right now. You know, like I said, we've been pretty busy running a communal family shelter that was over in Champaign, and that's where we are right now. That has taken the bulk of a lot of opportunities, but in the midst of me seeing the bulk of those opportunities that it took from me, I think I gained more than I lost, you know, out of that whole entire experience. And I'm really hopeful that, you know, several of the clients that I supported over there during that time period are listening to this show today. Excuse me. I'm really hopeful that few of the clients that we supported over there during that time period are really listening to the show today. You know, just talking about being able to take care of yourself and sustain yourself. I think a lot of people think all the time that it's a monetary value that we're talking about, but when you're really fully taking care of yourself, you know, this is a spiritual battle and a spiritual warfare that we're on. So, you know, for the most part, people will get confused and think that it's just about finances that we're talking about all the time. And, you know, people can have, you know, just like what we've been seeing in the news lately, you know, I don't know if a lot of people watch the news or not, but today it was like the most disheartening story. Another, you know, married couple this morning, I guess in Virginia. And I guess this was a lieutenant governor. But, you know, he decided that he would end it all for himself and for his wife. And so, I'm like, a lot of people were asking questions. I saw this circulating online and going around and around. And how can somebody who has everything, so it may appear, how can it be that somebody who has everything, you've got the finances, you've got the, the big house, you've got the beautiful cars, you can afford the luxury trips and different things like that. How could it be that this person would want to end everything, And I think that's a real question, like how do you get to that level? And then, I was talking to them about mental illness today, because I think, a lot of times, we do a lot of surfacey things with mental illness. And, based on being in this community for some years, I can tell you this much. It has drastically changed since 2014, since 2012, I believe. That was the time that they shut down a lot of different agencies and a lot of different places where people could go out and get, assistance and help. And, coming from, what my background is in this community, seeing all the different services and different areas where, we were able to assist people diminish. And, no longer offering services here. And, I think about it a lot because I'm like, we have no idea what we really just pushed out here into the streets, and, I see now like the police department in different areas, and they want, community navigators or something to that degree to where this person would come in if they've got any kind of mental health services and any mental health services kind of skill set in their backgrounds and stuff like that. They want them to be a part of their team, which is great. But this is a changing world right now, and the dynamics that we're up against is not the same that we were up against just a few years ago. And just a few years ago, we're even talking about, what is it now? So you're talking about on the level of thinking that people have the services and are able to reach out and get the things that they need based on the fact that they're online. And I think that online cusp right there is really something that we're not even fully engaged and wrapped up into yet. I don't think a lot of people are even understanding the capacity of that online being as critical to our detriment, not to our success. I was talking to somebody most recently, and we were having a discussion about what is AI changing in our youth right now, and how do they look at AI, And we had this conversation based on, somebody had told me before, and I don't know how recent this was. I can't remember it, but I remember it being within the last several months where they were talking about AI being the new God for youth. And I'm like, I could see that. Because if they're going online and they're asking this AI system and machinery, this tool answers, and it's giving them critical answers that they really hadn't thought about before, then it's like, what is really answering my youth right now? What is really telling this child or this young person or these people the real answers right now? And to what level? And I think that's a real kind of like it I'm going to say what it is. It's scary. It's scary that we could put that much control of one device or one mean so much in focus that becomes everything for us. We were talking to some older people, and they were like, speaking about AI like it was some hidden gem or some hidden jewel. And you're thinking to yourself, like, everybody's using AI, but at what cost? Because now, like I said before, now you've got a bunch of young people who believe that AI is the answer for everything, and chat GPTing everything, and now this is, if I want to get answers, but the thing is, it cannot be a soul. There's different levels of not expression, but different levels of forethought a person would put into giving you answers when there's a soul involved. There's a different level when you've actually been through some things, as opposed to being uploaded with some things. And I mean uploaded as in machinery, as in a tool, as in a device. So I think about all of the different things that we are battling right now, because this is truly a battle. As much as you think it's not, as much as you think that we're not going to be faced with a lot of different things that are going on, especially you're talking about in the critical, this is a critical age, to where you're trying to get young people, older people as well. You're trying to get them a real understanding of what's happening. And how do you do it? How do you do it? I don't have a lot of people online with me today. I should have been adding a few people in, which I probably can in a little bit. But, it's just a critical time right now. I think, the most important thing right now, like I said before, is to try and be a resource for people. And I mean, be a resource for people in a spiritual realm, not just the physical, because what we're seeing now is it's very different. This is very different than growing up with going outside, playing in mud pies, and from the time and period that we grew up in. I grew up in the 70s, 80s, right? And riding the bike down the street and going, visiting your cousins, going out of town on the weekends to Tennessee to do family vacations and different things like that. And I mean, it's a different time. It's a different time. I truly believe, we suffer from, so many different things of just, the separation of family. Family is just completely on their own and out here. And I'm like, what's the difference? What is so different now between how it was when we were growing up? What's so different right now? Is it the fact that, we're not, we were having a conversation before about just the simple fact of young people, or us being the age that we are. So you're talking about people that are in their 40s, 50s, late 40s, 50s, early 50s, the last generation that was really yes ma'am, no ma'am. The last generation that really respected their elders. Because this is a different world. I've seen somebody cut across, go right in front of another person, not say, excuse me, and they're 20 and 30-year-olds. And I'm like, what do you do with that? Because it's not a time period of us collectively going backwards and being you should have said, excuse me, or you could have said, excuse me, or you could have did this or that. Because how do you correct a child that's in their 20s and 30s right now? Because they're not thinking that they're even kids no more, right? I'm fully grown and I'm fully an adult at 20 and 30 years old. And how do you correct that? How do you correct a 20 and 30-year-old? How do they, and this is that's a whole nother world of things that we can have a conversation about, because we have to. We'll have to. We'll have to come back around to that, because there's just no way. What do you do in the instance where a child needs to be corrected, or an adult child needs to be corrected? What do you do with that? We don't see that too much. And then if you do, you're seeing like most kids or most adults, they become frantic with the fact that they feel like they've been disrespected. I think I've heard that more times in my career with young people, the fact that they feel disrespected. And I'm like, how can you feel disrespected? How? When you're I don't know. It's not the fact that I'm trying to like negate their feelings. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is like the little menial things, the smallest things seem to make them feel like they're disrespected, you know? And how do you regulate that? How do you go back amongst the elders, and try to regulate the way that they feel based on the fact that their feelings are valid? We tell people that all the time, right? Oh, your feelings matter. Your feelings are valid. It's important. You're important. And I get that. I do. But I think we've got so far out of hand right now. It's so far out of hand that now we're dealing with young people on the uprise, like being, to the capacity to where we're feeling like we're terrorized in our own neighborhood and homes, And I think that's what do you believe? For me, I think, and I'm thinking this through as I'm talking to you all, because I'm like, what's the next steps here? What are the next steps here? What will the next steps be to get us regulated, to get the kids back into being a part of society, functioning as a whole, functioning as a normal, not being violent with one another, not being violent with people outside of themselves? Like, what is missing? But I say this all the time, and you know what? I have this conversation on more than one occasion with more than one person. And then when you're living in a hopeless state of mind, because like, where is your hope at? Do you believe that there's a situation that you can get out of? Do you believe that you have a resolve? Do you believe that, it could get better? Because I think that's what we, as the older generations right now, we're looking at, like, what can we do? But then even when you offer the things that you have to offer them, it almost seems like it's not even a good enough platform, or it's not even good enough for them to use the resources that we give them. Because I don't even think that they're capable of using them. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a lot of children out here that have that capability anymore to be like, you know what, I would love for, them to give me, just say for instance, let's just go. They want to learn how to build and construct. And then the parent goes out, or the, caretaker or a friend of the family goes out and buys them, this tool where they can build and construct things. And that's great, right? Because you want them to do that. But what are they going to do from that? Just because you have the skill set, does that mean that you can make the finances that you need in order to take care of yourself? And is that an issue anymore? Is that an issue? Do kids really want the finances to be able to afford, a fair living wage, or do they want the most expensive things because they see all the rest of their friends have these gadgets and devices, and they've got the latest cell phone, they got the latest Meta glasses? I mean, are they thinking like long range and long term? Like, where is the divide here is really what my question is. Where is the divide? Where is the capability to where children You divide it from them just wanting the things that they want to be socially acceptable amongst their peers into survival. Where does that line stop and where does it start? And at what age, truthfully? At what age does that start and stop? Where you feel like you need to take care of yourself as opposed to not? Because that's my real question. It's like, what are the youth thinking totally at this point in time? What do they think totally? Are they really into trying to figure out and find out, how they can take care of themselves? Or are they just living day to day, and just trying to survive off of what they know that they can do to survive? Is it a thrill that you're seeking? What is it? Because I think as parents, I think as grandparents, I think as, community organizers, activists, I think what we're missing, and a lot of times is what we're doing, is we're seeing what the problem, we're trying to tell them what their problem is, right? Instead of actually bringing them to the table and discussing the problem with them. Because, we know better, right? At least that's what we say. We always say that. We know best, like grandma knows best, auntie knows best, mama knows best, right? We do that a lot, instead of like meeting these kids and having them give you the conversation and the dialogue that they need. They need the dialogue more than you need the dialogue. They need the conversation more than you actually really need the conversation. But see, we're so blind to having things be earmarked for money, is that we're missing out on so many different things that we could be doing because it's not giving us the end result that we're looking for as an adult, and we're looking for the outcome of the finances, right? And that's most of the time what it is. Instead of bringing our kids, I've petitioned before. I've got out here. I've done my outreach. I have done my conversations where I told people what I wanted to do. I put it online. I had it voted on. It was approved to where I could start, us organizing our own peer radio show and podcast. And then I hear another radio station say that they're going to start doing it as well. But this was already voted on 4 or 5, 6 months ago. Because I think that is a really big era of where we need to start. How do we have a show for kids but don't have kids? How do you do that? How do you have a program that's earmarked and targeting children, but you don't have children? You don't have the children to even sit in that capacity to where they could benefit from what you're doing. Because you know what? I am to this point to where I see how things move within the city right now. And it's just not Champaign solely. It's not Urbana solely, but I see how things move within the city right now. Like I just said, we just completed a contract where we were working with homeless families. And you know what? Just the navigation and helping those families get the services that they needed, and that they were not allowed to get the services that they needed because some things weren't even a priority. A lot of things were not prioritized. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what really, that kind of bothers me a lot. When you think about the fact that so many So many people out here could really have like what they need if we weren't so wrapped up into the criticalness of the elected officials and what money goes to what. This should be a community-based. Any money that is given in social services should be community-based and should be voted on by the people in that community. The people that serve in that community and the people that actually go out and do the work in that community. What's up, Damon? But the people that actually serve and actually work in the community should be the people that vote on what services are in high demand and what services get allocated funds. Because now we're talking about something different. Because now, based on the fact that I can't send a client over to X, Y, and Z resource without them trying to say we can no longer accept that number of persons or this person based on the fact we don't have the funds allocated to fit their needs because they live in Urbana and not in Champaign. Why isn't that? Why wouldn't that be voted on? Why wouldn't that be voted on? Why? There is so much, you know what? If I could think how to redo and rewrite a whole infrastructure of how things should be handled, I could do it. Because this isn't fair, And how do you say that this isn't fair to the bulk of people when they're looking at you to provide the resources? And if you say something's not right, then basically you've raised a red flag to yourself, because now they're looking at you like, and if you're saying it's not right, Miss Nika or Miss, you know what I'm saying, whomever, then they're looking at you like, I can't believe you said that. If you said that, then it must be serious. It has to be. But we're in this kind of age right now where all the funds that are being allocated to the different service providers, I just think a lot of people are just so focused on getting a check that we're deficient in the fact of who gets served. The things that I'm seeing right now, I'm really, truly disgusted. The fact that we can't even afford to live in the city that we're in is crazy. The fact that you have to make 3 times the rent in order to live in Champaign, Urbana is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Damon. Damon says, thank you for everything you do in the community. You truly have a love for the people. I truly do. I believe you do too, brother. But I think a lot of this statement is like, I think these funds that we're getting inside of this community need to be allocated to those of us that actually do the work. Just like you, brother. Just like myself. I mean, I'm telling you, from sitting up with families and trying to figure out where they're going to go when we got to the end of this program this time, I think that put another hit on me, onto my mental, onto my physical, onto my emotional, because when you don't have nowhere to go, and only people that have been homeless should be talking about homelessness. You know what? It's a lot of people that are out here that are in positions, and they got great positions, but this has never been your portion. This has never been your portion of where you tried to figure out where you were going to sleep at that night, or when you were on somebody else's couch and they did not want you there. There is no greater and worse feeling than being in a house where nobody wants you. And only somebody that has been homeless knows what I'm talking about. Because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about anything outside of homelessness right now. So if you've been in a situation where The people that did not want you there, but you had to stay there because that was your only means of being housed at that time. You understand what I'm saying? And there are people out here that will get on various boards and sit in various seats who have never faced this. But they gonna allocate the way that you spend your money. They'll allocate the way we give tax dollars, how tax dollars are spent in our communities because of what they think. And I get it. You know, somebody has to allocate funds, I guess. Somebody has to talk about it, I guess. Somebody has to be the voice. But that's the problem right there. That's the problem right there. Is that you don't want to take the actual people who are faced with this situation, which I just was talking about. I'm just talking about the same exact thing. And we're talking about dealing with the young people. Dealing with the young people, but never having them at the table. Dealing with the young people, but never have them at the table. What's up, Marco? But how do you have different young people and that you could give services to, but you don't have any of these young people sitting at the table to figure out what do they want to do? You know, has it ever came to anybody's mind and attention that maybe we should ask the people who we serve what they want? That sounds like a good plan. Sounds like it might be a winner, you know. I'm just saying. You know, I just think a lot is to be said behind a lot of different things that we've got going on out here in the community. You know, I'm not impressed. You know, I've been sitting in and throughout this community for 17, 18 years working this place. Working. You hear me? And for the most part of it, listen, 18 years, and in the midst of that, I've had 20 plus jobs here. You know what I'm saying? I've never been fired, but from one place, the Pavilion, and the Pavilion fired me when I was on a medical leave. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But what I am saying is this. I never left because I wanted to leave. I left because, you know what, at the end of the day, I know that I'm smarter and I could do better than what I'm seeing. I can do more for this community than what you're giving me the capabilities to do. And that's my frustration, is that people will have good employees. They'll have the greatest employees. They'll have people on their team that they really could make huge impacts here. And you will demise or diminish these people because it's not your idea. And I've seen this in 20 plus jobs in this community. I've seen it. And I get to talk about it because this is my radio show. Because I'm just like mortified at this point in time. There are real people out here that are making really, really truthful impacts. But because of the jargon and because of the red tape and because, you know what, we don't want you to make too much of an impact. Because I truly believe this. If we came up with a resolution, which there is a resolution to fix all of this, it truly is. But the problem is that if we give it, a lot of these industries won't get money. A lot of these places won't get the backing. A lot of these places won't get the funders. You know what I'm saying? So then what do? That's like you knowing all the answers for a test and your teacher coming in and telling you, you know what, I need you to dumb yourself down so that you can get that B or that C, because you can't outperform, because if you do, you know, then it won't look good for us. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we see a lot of the time. A lot of the time, there are things that could have been put in place, but because it's not being sponsored by the people that they want it sponsored by, this is what'll happen. We got more homelessness out here in the community now on the cusp of, and then you're talking about what's getting ready to happen on May 1st. So I don't know if a lot of people even heard about what's about to occur on May 1st. For a lot of people that are on food stamps right now, if you're not working 80 hours a week or doing volunteering or to some 80 hours a month to some capacity right now, they can take your benefits away from you. They'll take your benefits away. So now on top of the fact that if you have a child that's under the age of 18, you are supposed to now be working or doing some type of volunteering or something for what? 80 hours a month. And if you're doing something like that for 80 hours a month, let us also think about the child care expenses that need to occur. Because if you have children that are young, where are they going to go? This is the issue, and this is the problem that constantly keeps reoccurring. Now, what if we don't have anybody that we have the capability to, is it, I'm on live, ain't I, DJ? Okay, but yeah, what if we don't have the capabilities to secure child care resources for the young people now, for the young women? What if we don't have that? What if young people can't go out here and just find a daycare provider? What if the daycare provider now, we're going into that whole narrative to where that funding option could be lost? What will happen now? DJ BJ, you coming on live? You gonna sit down and have a conversation?
I just want to see how you doing. You're doing great.
Am I really?
This is perfect. You did great.
Did I really? Thank you so much. I appreciate
fantastic.
you.
Yeah.
Because, listen, I got a few people online. I was like, let me go in here and pray before I came in. I didn't even know the code.
You did great.
I didn't even know the code to get in, DJB. It came back to my whole remembrance.
Okay. Yeah, I just left
I understand.
the ER convenient care.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you all right, DJ?
Yeah, they wanted to, cut a hole in my foot, and I've been running a little too much, that's all.
Yeah, we've been seeing you all over the world.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But yeah, I had an infection in there, so yeah.
DJ, maybe you should sit down for a little while.
We gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
Hey, listen, don't let that get in your blood, though.
No, I got some antibiotics.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Please, sir. Please.
Yeah.
But thanks, DJ. I appreciate you just for coming in and checking on me because I didn't know.
It is nice to have you back here.
I appreciate being back.
Yes.
Even though I'm solo dolo right now. But
That's all right. That's when we find ourselves is when we're by ourselves.
That was a good one. DJ BJ up in here just spitting his knowledge. Sometimes we find ourselves when we're by ourselves. But let me tell you. So now, we have to think about all these different things that are occurring within our communities right now. I just looked online. I just saw the news do their report for Daily Bread, and how Daily Bread is talking about their reports is that, they've got 100 extra people coming in and through lines. And so, is the community really organizing? There are so many churches within these communities. You know what I mean? And this is my thought process. What I would hope to see for our future is that within y'all blocks, y'all would be able to navigate resources and work together. Cameron Belk, Miss Cassandra Smith and her husband, I really love how they're doing things. I love the fact that they giving out the food on a regular continuum. It's a regular basis, because 1 week or one time a month giving away food, or twice a week, twice a month, that's ridiculous to me when you've got the resources to do more. We've got open fields out here where nobody's talking about growing things, where nobody's talking about, and you know what? If I was set up completely different, this would be something that I would do. And for anybody that knows me, you know what I think and you know how I think. You know this is something that I would do. But as far as a resource for the community, because you're never not going to need food. People are never not going to be hungry. You're going to need food and the resources to get it every single time. And why aren't we thinking more? Because listen, they're plotting more against us. If you don't believe that. If you don't believe that we're in a dire strait, that we're in a critical times right now. If you don't believe that you need to navigate and mend those fences with your neighbors and mend those fences with your families. Because you know what? This is what the ultimate demise is, that we would all be separate and we'd be able to fall individually. This is the ultimate game plan. If you're all alone and you're over here and I bring you down, all I'm going to do is bring you down. All I'm going to do is bring you down. But if you get to the point in time where you want to be brought up, we're here too. Hold on a minute. Come on in. I'm live. Okay. You know I'm live. Come on in and have a seat. You want to get on and talk?
No. I'm good.
What?
I'm good. I'll just be your sidekick.
Ms.Marilyn, I'm talking, but you gonna want to touch this one.
Okay.
Because you know why? I was just talking to the people about the fact that we're not working together as a critical mass as we could be.
You didn't know for this.
I did not. We're not working together as critical as we could be. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't have the resources set up within our community, not even within our homes, because they've divided us so that we can't even think to, I might have to share this pot of beans with you.
No. You know, I was thinking, that we as Black people always talk about the village. But right now, we all need a village.
Yes, ma'am.
We
do.
We cannot separate the village anymore, because we need everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
To
we
help
do.
raise our children.
That's the truth. I was
know.
just talking to them about that, Ms. Marilyn.
Yeah.
The fact that I just said to people that, now they've got it to where if you have food stamps now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mm-hmm. Starting May the 1st, you have to be able to work or volunteer 80 hours a month. Mm-hmm. So, Ms. Marilyn, this is what I said. What? Now you got to think about those young girls and young men that need to set up child care resources for their children and for themselves. But what if you don't have the transportation to get your child back and forth? What if you don't have the resources to even mitigate that? Because now you can't have a volunteer period, or you're not working and you don't have it and you can't set it up. You lose a resource for yourself. Right. Now what? So now you think about how many people will lose their resources or, food stamps just because they can't set up childcare. Right. Think about the mass of this. I was looking online today at Daily Bread and how Daily Bread said, just from last year, they've increased by like 150 people. Right. And I'm like, what do we do with this, Ms. Marilyn? What do we do with this? What do you do with this kind of information, knowing that we are not in a situation where this is getting better?
No, it's getting worse.
It is. And I'm not trying to scare people, but I'm telling you facts.
Everybody's already scared.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is not a scare tactic. This is a reality.
That's right.
And it's ever pervasive right now.
Everybody is walking on eggshells.
Ain't they though?
Yeah, everybody is walking on eggshells.
Ain't they?
Everybody is just wondering, what's going to happen next. But we're going to get out of this. As humans, we're going to figure it out.
Right. Hey, Katura, I'm telling you. I mean, this is what I believe as well. I believe we will figure it out, but at the expense of what? You know what I mean? At the expense of what? Just like COVID, right? COVID came in and swept through us like 40 going north. Like it just came in and plowed straight through. Right.
Yeah.
Plowed straight through.
Like nothing.
And then you think about the amount of people that were lost during that time period that they still haven't given you real numbers on.
And you know, we're still lost. And we're walking around. We're talking about people that passed away, but they were lost to that devastation.
Right.
And we are alive and we're still lost.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So all I'm saying,
with blinders on.
All I'm saying is that we all have to keep our minds regulated.
Yeah.
Because this kind of stuff will give us mental sickness. Mental.
Ms.Marilyn.
Yes.
I was just talking about it.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it. I said, you know what? We're in something different.
It's a different climate. It's not even recognizable.
No.
We
No.
don't realize. We can't realize what we're in.
No. No. That's the scariest part of it all. And I think that a lot of people, we're on here talking about it, and they think that this has no effect or affect towards us. But yes, it does. That's where we're speaking on it, right? Because this is not.
No, this is not what we're used to.
Not at all.
Like I said, you know, you recognize people.
Yeah.
You recognize, but we can't even recognize this day yet.
No.
You know, like I said, we're thankful.
Yeah.
For a new day.
Right.
A day that we've never seen and will never see again.
Exactly.
And try to get the best out of this day that we can. But
Right.
it is hard because it's a new, indifferent day.
Yeah. Digesting.
Yes. Yes.
It is not digesting the same.
Yeah.
You're not even on the same wavelength anymore. You know, we're wondering why it's so many random things. They just seem so odd.
Happening. Yeah.
Today I was talking about, when I first came on, we were talking about this lieutenant governor in Virginia, black man, you know, and he took his life and took his wife's life as well. And, you know, you're like, why? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people would look at the outside looking in and be like, you've got the car, you've got the money, you've got the resources, you've got the house, you've got everything that everybody seems to be working so hard to get. You have it all. What is the problem, right?
We don't realize the flow of our souls.
No.
And nobody does.
No.
Because at one time we knew what the flow was. But now,
yeah,
you know, like they say, my soul is in turmoil.
Yeah.
My heart is hurting.
Yeah.
My mind is thankless.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Our thoughts are different anymore.
Ain't it though? It is.
Our movements are different anymore.
Right.
Our physical being is different.
Yeah.
We just don't recognize it anymore.
No, we don't. No, there's so much going on right now.
Now, I'm going to stop talking because I'll be up in here crying.
Please don't. Please don't. I mean, don't cry out of no. Yeah, but I'm telling you, it makes you, like today. I just, you know how you can't just get in it, but you in it, but you're like, everything feels like it's not reality. You know, and I put shades on and I'm behind the shades, and sometimes it's like that shade is even a blinder to the real of what's going on.
Right.
And so I moved like that today, this morning. And I was like, what is wrong with me? But it just feels off.
Yeah. And like, you have a beautiful day. You go outside and you look at the beautiful day and you look at some of the beautiful people.
Right.
But once you peel back that beautiful, sunshiny, warm day,
Yeah.
you see all that ugliness
I know.
in behind it.
The muck.
No, as that preacher used to say, the
Muck and the marrow.
Oh,
Yep.
you know, I always wondered what that muck was, you know.
Yep.
But we're living in it right now.
I promise you. You know, but you know, but what we always want to leave people with is hope. You know what I mean?
Yes, there's always hope.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, you have to have. For me personally, this is your own personal relationship with whomever you choose to call God in your life. But for me personally, that is foundational right now, because in the chaos, you know, that's the one thing that's not chaotic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if it is chaotic, then you need to figure something else out, because that's not truth. You know, because he's not here to bring you any type of division and man, no division. But of course, salvation, you know, but in that you got to really have a deeper understanding, because I'm telling you, if you're putting your hope and invested in people right now.
Yeah, I've got this painting called When Life Freezes Over, There's Still Hope.
Listen,
There's
I believe it.
Hope. Yeah, I do too.
I believe it.
Yes.
It be above anything else I can do. I believe that. What's up, Couture? What's up, Marco? It's 3:55. We only got about 5 minutes left in the studio. So I guess I'll be back with y'all next week. Next week I have some more things, a little bit more organized. I know we were talking about some things all over the wall.
It's good to see you back, though, girl.
All over the wall. I'm
Lady
all over
girl.
the place. You know, it's good to be back. But, you know, DJ BJ came in here and made sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing on the ones and the twos. I was like, I can add this to my collection. You know, listen. But I said, you know, I think this time when I come in right now, I'm going to try to pinpoint a few things week by week as we grow. Because there are a lot of different things that should be discussed. As you know, I have my opinions based on the fact of where funding options are going and who they vote for funding on. And I said, you know, I feel like if social services is here in this city and we're voting on where best suited social services money should be allocated, I think the people that provide the services actually should be voting on where this money goes. You're first-handers. You're the first responder to any situation and any event that goes on within this community. And I think that is so critical right now. That's where we need to be heading, and that's what we need to be targeting. Who can answer that? You know? Because I would love to. I'm telling you the truth. It's 3:56 right now, but we're winding it down. Ms.Marilyn, what you going to do for the rest of the day?
I'm going to go and take me a little walk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's beautiful outside. I know that. It doesn't feel too much.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There's a lot of activity
just enough
going on around the building. I didn't know it was that much road construction around here either.
Yeah, I'm going to go maybe walk around a block or two and then come home and eat, I guess.
What is on the menu for tonight?
Gumbo.
Mm.
I had a little bit left from the
Hello?
I had cooked some etouffee on Sunday.
You done went all the way.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with
I'm
it.
going to show you what I'm going to send it to you.
How you going to send it to me?
I'm going
How?
to send a picture.
I don't want a picture.
When I make some more, you'll be the first one to come.
Right.
I'm serious.
I believe you, Miss Marilyn. I'm just saying I don't want no pictures of no things. We not on the picture.
Yeah, you want the real
We want
thing.
the real
Okay.
thing. We would appreciate
Invite
it.
you again.
I would appreciate that.
Right.
But yes, and we will show up, trust me.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna do too much, Miss Marilyn. I'm gonna go around, probably look at my kids.
Okay.
Look at them.
And look at them and say, walk away.
Thank you. I mean, they got their own lives to live. Everybody got little activities and little sports events. I think my granddaughter, she got a game tonight. So, you know, hey, let them do their thing. That's not what Granny do.
I know that.
Not today. Today, I just feel like being peaceful.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing too much, for real. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
It's 3:59. We're almost at the end of the show today. I really appreciate everybody that got on live with me today. Ms. Marilyn, I appreciate you coming into the studio and blessing us for a little while.
Thank you.
You know, but as I say all the time, you know, I appreciate everybody that's came on with us. I appreciate y'all for sticking it out with me. I appreciate you coming back and forth as I jump back and forth in and out. But for the most part, you know, we'll be back again next week. Same time. It'll be from 3 to 4 p.m. And if you want to come on live, let me know. Shoot me a message, text, or anything. You can also come live in the studio. We have plenty of time for a few guests to go live with us.
And I'll be back and forth.
You gonna be back and forth?
Yes.
And then come on down to the IMC as well. Miss Marilyn Dean Cleveland has her African Negro Museum.
Yes.
Within the IMC. Please come out and visit. Everybody have a great afternoon, and I will talk to you later. We are out of here.
Love, heart to heart.
Love, heart to heart, everybody.
Take care.
Have a good one.